Today, we dive into an exploration story unfolding in one of Canada's historic gold districts. Dryden Gold controls the entire system of a 50-kilometer gold-bearing corridor known as the Manitou du Nord structure in northwestern Ontario. Fresh results from their Gold Rock camp validate their systematic approach. The company just reported high-grade gold samples up to 24 grams per ton, extending their mineralized trend by 2 kilometers. Let's bring in Trey Wasser, CEO, and Maura Kolb, president of Dryden Gold. Welcome to the program, both of you.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right, let's start with Maura. As mentioned, you've extended your mineralized trend 2 kilometers northeast. What does this expansion tell us about the potential scale here?
I think it really shows our systematic approach to keep stepping out from the known mineralization using everything we've learned from the drilling and the mapping we've done at the Gold Rock main showings to then go 2 kilometers to the north and be able to successfully find 3 additional structures. It's wonderful to see. We used the Manitou du Nord deformation zone, obviously we think is the key controlling gold feature in this camp, but we've also used all of the geophysical data available to give us other anomalies and other targets. And this particular new discovery or new results rather follows up on one of those geophysical anomalies. So we saw them pop up really, really well over the mineralization at Elora and the Big Master in the main Gold Rock camp. And then this 2 kilometer step out is another one of these anomalies that we saw through the 3D inversion geophysical study we did with Maura Geoscience. So it's really nice to have kind of proof of these successes using this new technique over and over again. And we had one earlier this year with Hinman where we tested one of those geophysical anomalies and had other great results of 34 grams per ton on surface. So it's nice to see this is working.
Mm-hmm. You've also mentioned using advanced 3D geophysical modeling to guide exploration here. Can you just give us a little bit more detail on how this tech helped identify new targets like Mud Lake?
Absolutely. It's a really cool piece of technology. And what I really like about it best is that it uses all of the available data sets. So we use the airborne magnetic survey that's flown across the camp. And then we couple that with all of the other available data to create a geologic model. The 3D geologic model helps constrain the geophysical inversion. And that basically takes care of all the noise. So all of the anomalies that can be explained by geologic features, they kind of get erased. And then what you're left with are these anomalies that are related to alteration and mineralization. So it really kind of cleans it up and helps it be a lot more useful for exploration because you have a lot less anomalies and you can kind of hone in on the structural controls that maybe would make the ones more favorable. So it's really working out well for us, this technique.
And what does this mean for the upcoming drill program? How would that be guided?
For the upcoming drill program, we're going to actually start up the drills here again in a couple of weeks on the 10th. We're going to focus this program on continuing to explore Elora, but at depth. We've submitted an exploration permit. So right now we've been able to drill on what we call patented lands in Ontario. So that's kind of the historic mining area that is deemed mining lands. And then from there, we can apply for permits to drill other targets. So we'll be able to drill now the whole northeast corridor, and we've permitted all the way up to Mud Lake, kind of foreshadowing using those geophysical targets of where we might want to continue to explore. So that'll be exciting. The program that we're going to do now is going to be focused more on the depth potential at Elora. And then as that permit comes in, and we expect it to come in here kind of late first quarter, we'll be able to, in next phases, test along strike and head up to what we call the Laurentian mine. It was a historic mine at the turn of the century, 14-gram average grade. Now, it was one of the biggest producers in the Dryden area, 10,000 tons, so not big, but this was all horse and buggy kind of mining at that time, but excellent average grade. So we're really excited about what that could mean for the Elora structure. And then coupled with the Mud Lake results from today, it really starts to show some continuity along the structure of exciting mineralization and high grade mineralization at that.
Okay, great, Maura. So thank you for that exploration update. We'll stand to watch. Trey, if I could throw to you, I know also in the last month and a half or so, we heard news that Centerra has invested in Dryden. Please tell us how much and what this means for the company moving forward.
Yep. Centerra took a 9.9% position in Dryden Gold. They invested about $2.5 million, and 500,000 of that was in hard dollars. at 17 cents per share. And then the other 2 million was done as the back end of a charity flow through, since they wanted to see most of the money go into the ground. So we actually got a 1.42 multiple on that 2 million. So made that, actually closer to 2.8 million. And so the total that we received from the investment was just under 3.4 million for that percentage. And important with Centerra, just to talk about them a little bit, this is the third or fourth investment they've made, and you're seeing this across the industry where the major and mid-tier producers who don't have a nice pipeline of good projects anymore and good exploration teams are funding projects and teams. And I stress that, in the case of Centerra, their first two investments were with project generators, where companies like Kenorland and Headwater that have multiple projects at different locations. And Dryden was a bit unusual for them because you were basically a one property company. However, the property is very large, and with the approach that the team is taking of a district wide, and she talked about Mud Lake and Hinman, and there's others that we're really exploring this entire 70,000 hectares very systematically. And it's that approach on this property, and they're very impressed with the technical team, Maura and Anna, and the entire group. And I think that they, not just Centerra, but these other major and mid tiers, are investing as much in young geological talent as they are, because they don't have that either, right? They don't have a pipeline of their geology teams are all getting a little long in the tooth. So, it's a very good confirmation for us of not only the property, but the technical approach to the exploration and the technical team.
Yeah, some industry trends there that you've highlighted for us. Thank you, Trey. To close, I'd like to throw this question to both of you, maybe starting with Maura. 2025 objectives include, as we mentioned, expanding your high-grade structure on the Elora gold system. Can you tell us, if you have any other objectives? As I mentioned, let's start with Maura.
Thanks, Rachel. So we have a breakdown of our budget in our slide deck, but about 50% is going to go into Gold Rock, looking at expanding along strike and at depth at Elora and the Gold Rock system. And then from there, we're going to use about 35, 36 on regional targets. Now, that might be Gold Rock. It could be Mud Lake if that looks best. It could be Hinman, or our other target is Sheridan down to the south. And we'll rate and rank those as we kind of continue to do, as we get all of the results back and figure out what makes the most sense. And then we're also going to do a soil till sampling program, because that will allow us one more tool in our toolbox to look at what is undercover. We've been very lucky to use the geophysics. We have a lot of outcrop cover on most of the properties, so we're able to do some really detailed geologic mapping. But this will give us one more element that we don't have yet, which is a nice geochemical data set across the property. So we'll be doing that as well. Those are our objectives, because what we really want to do this year is make a discovery. And I'll hand it to Trey and see if I missed anything.
Well, I think you've covered it pretty well, but I think, if you look at the presentation, and of course, when we hired Maura, she was excited to come on board and drew some parallels to her work at Red Lake. And her and Anna both worked. In fact, Maura ran the exploration team for Goldcorp at the Red Lake mine for 5 years. So they have extensive experience in this kind of systems, these Archean load gold systems, and they can be tricky. We know there's a lot of high-grade gold. We're finding it on surface. There's been an incredible high-grade hit of 53,000 grams per ton by one of the predecessors who we bought the property from. But tracking these systems can be very difficult. And so, they draw a lot of parallels to the Red Lake. We have the same geometry to the geology there. We have the same rock types. We have the same three mineralizations, types of mineralization, and the same controlling features in the ultramafic and the felsic dikes. So the more work we do, the more this looks like Red Lake. And, but, this property has seen some exploration and some historic mining, it's never seen a drill hole below 300 meters. So as Maura pointed out before, the key this year will be for us to continually get drill deeper on that Elora structure, especially, and show that this is a true Archean system, which, the history of Red Lake was that it was they had a couple of pretty good mines there in Dickinson and Campbell, but they didn't get really good until they got down to 1,000 meters depth. So, we think we're in the same kind of system. We just have to prove it to the market, and that'll be, one of our major goals this year.
Well, both of you, thank you for all of the context you've set and the detailed explanations. That's Trey and Maura of Dryden Gold. To follow along this story, you can go to our website, CEO.CA, and just search the ticker symbol DRY. Thanks for watching.